Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm BraveXHero, and in today's video, I assembled a team of content creators, YouTubers, to help assist in covering some of the best builds to help you defeat the minions of the darkness, PVE enemies. We'll be covering some of the best builds for each subclass. That's right, guys. Just because Arc 3.0 got released doesn't mean that the other subclasses aren't superior. So if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and click that subscribe button for this channel and the other creators who are featured in today's video. But let's get started with our first Warlock build.
Excuse me, Brave, but you're a hunter main who raids with stompies on. Let a real Warlock main show these guardians what's up.
What's up, everybody? My name is Teegs, and I'm a bald guy who makes memes, builds, and definitely doesn't think that Oryx is in the back of the room. Brave has tasked me with covering my favorite Warlock Void build. Now, seeing as though I made a build called the Master of Chaos, and several Guardians seem to like it mainly because of its 30-second Nova Bombs, limited abilities, and the fact that you're nearly unkillable. But let's juice it up a little, shall we? Now, the most important things in your main Void kit are Nova Bomb Cataclysm, mainly because Vortex doesn't explode as much as I want, and Vortex Nades, because Bungie just fixed them, and because they deal high damage, yoink enemies in, and utilize a few of our fragments. For aspects, Feed the Void, because Devour is literally the most ridiculous perk in the game, which when active refills our health and grants around 20% grenade energy on each kill. Balanced. And Child of the Old Memes, because I'm lonely and need more friends. Speaking of which, sub to my channel and Braves while you're at it, because we also need more friends. Child of the Old Memes is going to weaken targets for us, heal us, and proc Devour on kills. Pretty hot, right? Moving right along into our fragments, we are running Echo of Expulsion that will make our Void ability final blows explode. More explosions. Echo of Undermining to make our Void grenades weaken targets. Echo of Instability to give our yet to be announced weapons volatile rounds after defeating targets with our grenades. And we have an open fragment slot for your choice depending on what else you want.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Did content creator just say we can choose for this build? Yes, he did. Welcome to Destiny Chipotle, and don't worry, the guac is not extra. So rounding out your Void burrito, my recommendations are Echo of Provision, Echo of Remnants, Echo of Starvation, and Echo of Persistence. Pick your flavor and have fun blowing everything up. Jumping into the Bang Bang Shoot Shoot, in our kinetic slot, we have arguably the best weapon you can buy from the Monument to Lost Lights, Witherhoard. This took the place of Anarchy when Bungie basically kneecapped it for many Guardians as a passive DPS option. With its high damage output, crowd control capability, catalyst that adds auto-loading holster, and most importantly, some of the most fire ornaments in the game, Witherhoard is an easy choice. Next, I have a funnel web with Adrenaline Junkie to take advantage of all the BS we're causing with our grenades and to also utilize volatile rounds from Echo of Instability. Finally, in the heavy slot, a weapon that Brave recently covered, the Taipan 4 FR, a craftable, high damage Void Linear. Could it get better? Yes, it can, because its perk pool includes some bangers like Triple Tap, Clown Cartridge, Box Breathing, and Firing Line. Solo content, group activities, this weapon will fry through it all. Now, to the engine of the build. Our exotic of choice is Nezarec Sin, which looks like Destiny finally got its Disney Plus crossover, and Dumbo is now a purchasable skin. Move over, Fortnite. Abyssal Extractors is why we are here, adding an additional 300% base grenade and melee regen rate, and an additional 200% base class and super regen rate whenever you get any Void kill. Yes, literally any Void kill. Funnel Web, Taipan, Nades, Melee, The Child, all will proc it. Jumping straight into mods, combine this with Ashes to Assets, which will grant additional super energy for each grenade kill, and that's how we end up with a 30-second Nova Bomb. Add in Harmonic Siphon to have Funnel Web create orbs, and yeah, you're gonna have so many Nova Bombs, you're gonna end up breaking your super button. Disclaimer, BraveXHero and Teegs are not responsible for broken super buttons or broken builds. You asked for this. Rights reserved. Results may vary. Shipping and handling not included. All right, moving into getting our grenade back at all times and other fun stuff. Impact Induction, Bomber, and Distribution will give us grenade energy for using our other abilities. Moving to our Elemental Well mods, we have Explosive Wellmaker and Elemental Ordnance creating wells from our grenades, Witherhoard, and Echo of Expulsion, which will then get doubled by Bountiful Wells, which should create around 4 wells per grenade kill. All of that will flow into Well of Ordnance, giving us bonus grenade energy back from the Solar Wells, and Font of Might boosting damage from Funnel Web and Taipan.
But wait! There's more!
What's that? You want more damage? Sub out Well of Ordnance and Explosive Wellmaker for Elemental Charge and High Energy Fire. Wait, you want endgame healing? Sub out Font of Might and Well of Ordnance for Well of Life and Well of Tenacity. So ideally, you blow everything up, then pick up Void and Solar Wells to trigger bonus damage and ability energy. What about stacking? Well, all of this stacks. High Energy Fire, Font of Might, Weaken, and Volatile all stack if you pick the high damage output option. I know all of this shouldn't be allowed, but it is. for now. So give this build a try and let us know in the comments what you think of Master of Chaos version 2. A link to my channel will be down in the description, and I have been Teegs, you have been beautiful, and wait a minute, this isn't the end. Hey Brave, what else you got for him?
Hey guys, what's up? PattyCakes here. This is currently my favorite build on Warlock. This season we have a new melee option, Lightning Surge, which converts our normal melee into this awesome one where you slide, blink forwards, and then blow up your enemies with electricity. Plus anything that isn't immediately killed will also get jolted. This pairs perfectly with Electrostatic Mind. When you defeat jolted enemies, you'll make ionic traces, and then collecting those traces makes you amplified. For your melee, you really want to pick Chain Lightning simply because it has a shorter cooldown and lets you use that Lightning Surge more often. This build works with many different options, but I found the most fun way to play is to use the new exotic helmet Fallen Sunstar. This makes your ionic traces move faster and boosts up your ability energy even more. With this setup, you're often going to get your melee recharged almost instantly, so you can run around blowing up groups of enemies to your heart's content. For fragments, we'll use Spark of Discharge and Spark of Ions to make ionic traces, Spark of Shock so that our grenades jolt enemies, and Spark of Feedback so that our powered up melee does a bit more damage if we get meleeed on the way to deliver that attack. In order to get maximum ionic traces going, we really want to use an arc energy weapon, and I think there's two really great choices to consider. The first is a bow that's performing incredibly well this season alongside Arc 3.0. Trinity Ghoul with its catalyst makes blowing up groups of enemies a cakewalk. I've been using this thing non-stop and loving every minute of it. But if you don't have Trinity or its catalyst, another great option is the new fusion rifle Delicate Tomb. This synergizes really nicely with all of the ionic traces we're creating with this build, and if you manage to complete the exotic catalyst, you'll almost never need to reload. Mods here are flexible, but this is what I would recommend. If you use hands-on with your helmet, you'll recharge your super faster. Melee kickstart on your gloves will recharge your melee faster after you use it. Melee Wellmaker will produce wells from kills you get with your lightning surge, and Well of Striking will give you melee energy back when you pick up those wells. Seeking Wells will draw the elemental wells towards you, and Bountiful Wells will create extra wells for you automatically. And Well of Ions can buff your melee damage even more. To get around the map faster, I really enjoyed running the sword Half Truce to get more arc weapon kills, and also zoom around the map with Eager Edge. And this season, we have the Sword Scavenger mod and the artifact for just 1 point. You can pick either super option, but I've had more success with Chaos Reach, which helps melt those tankier enemies a little bit faster. And the grenade choice is up to your preference, but once again, I found that pulse grenades are really strong for PvE.
Now Void and Arc are awesome, but let's be serious here. You're only watching this video because you want to blow stuff up. And with the solar build we have today, we're going to be blowing a lot of stuff up. Better yet, we're going to have unlimited grenades. With today's build, we're going to be focusing around utilizing the exotic Sun Bracers. This exotic has helium spirals, aka the power of the sun in the palm of your hand.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
The perk reads, increase the duration of solar grenades. Solar melee kills grant unlimited solar grenade energy for a brief time. As you can tell, this build revolves around having your melee energy up all the time. Every time you get a kill with your melee, you get unlimited grenades for a short amount of time. So the melee of choice we're going with today is going to be Incinerator Snap. Now the reason we're choosing Incinerator Snap is for 2 reasons. 1, it has a slightly faster cooldown, and number 2, I want to look like an anime character. When it comes to choosing a grenade, Solar Grenade is your only option. Why? Well, we're using the Sun Bracers, and that's the only grenade that works with them. But not only that, since we're using solar grenades, when we deal damage to an enemy with the solar grenades, they will take stacks of Scorch. After so many stacks of Scorch, they will ignite, and this build revolves around igniting. Now getting into which aspects you should be running. Heat Rises is a must. Now there's a good reason to run Heat Rises. If you find yourself without a melee, just consume your grenade, and when you're floating in the air, every kill you get will grant you melee energy, thus allowing you to use this build more often. But don't worry, this is just a last resort. Just if you find yourself without a melee, you can always use this method. For our second aspect, you want to run Touch of Flame. This is going to turn your solar grenades into super solar grenades. This aspect alone increases lingering duration of your solar grenades, and it periodically emits bolts of lava around the perimeter. And if you're wondering, yes, this synergizes extremely well with our exotic of choice, the Sun Bracers. Not only are we getting increased duration of our solar grenades due to Sun Bracers, by using the aspect Touch of Flame, we're emitting bolts of lava out of our solar grenades, and they last even longer. Now covering our fragments quickly, we have Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. Our second fragment is Ember of Char. This is going to help us spread Scorch with our solar ignitions. We're pairing this alongside Ember of Wonder. Rapidly defeating multiple targets with solar ignitions generates an orb of power. Guys, we're gonna have a lot of solar ignitions. And our last fragment is going to be Ember of Syrian. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. Yes, that's gonna synergize well with our sun bracers. So as you can tell, before we even add any mods to this build, it's extremely synergistic and it's deadly. But let's start adding mods to make it even deadlier for PvE. I decided to use a solar helmet because I wanted to use the mod Ashes to Assets. That's the best mod we can use for this build since we are getting a lot of grenade kills. When we get a grenade kill, this gives us bonus super energy. Lastly, I added elemental ordnance. Defeating combatants with a grenade spawns an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type. Not only are we getting super energy from our grenade kills, but we're also spawning elemental wells with them. For my sun bracers, I made sure they had the stasis affinity because I wanted to use the mod Melee Kickstart. When your melee energy is fully expended, you gain melee energy. The reason I went with this mod is so when I use Incinerator Snap, I gain a little bit of melee energy back. And since we are creating elemental wells with elemental ordnance, I wanted to use the mod Elemental Charge. When I pick up one of those wells, I gain 2 stacks of Charge with Light. Lastly, I still had room on my exotic, so I went with a strength mod as well. For my chest piece, I went with solar because I wanted to use the mod Bountiful Wells. When I'm creating wells with elemental ordnance, I'm gonna spawn an additional well because of Bountiful Wells. On my leg armor, I went with Arc for a specific reason. I went with the mod Invigoration, reduces melee cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. Since we're using the fragment Ember of Wonder, I will be generating a lot of orbs. Lastly, I went with the mod Heavy Handed. We're going to be creating a lot of elemental wells, and since I'm using elemental charge, I'll be charged with light a lot. And by being charged with light, I'll regain half my melee energy when I use a charged melee attack, and it only consumes 1 stack of charge with light. For my Warlock bond, I went with Void because I'm going to be creating so many wells, I want them to last longer. So I went with the mod Enduring Wells. This is going to increase the lifespan of my elemental wells. I also slotted 1 strength mod. Now to quickly cover the weapons, I went with the weapon Blood Feud because of the perk Pugilist. And I also went with the exotic trace rifle Prometheus Lens. When I get a kill, it automatically reloads this weapon and it synergizes well with this entire solar build. Now this entire build has a simple gameplay loop. Every time you get a melee kill, you'll have infinite grenades. Every time you throw those grenades and you start dealing damage to an enemy, if you cause them to ignite, they'll spawn an elemental well. By picking that well up, you're going to charge your abilities much faster, and you'll also be charged with light, so the next time you throw your melee, you'll get half of it back. Let's not forget about the mod Melee Kickstart. When I use my initial melee, I'll get a little bit of melee energy back from Melee Kickstart. And lastly, with all these grenade kills you're getting, you're going to be charging your super because of the mod Ashes to Assets. In lower level activities, I can throw grenades the entire thing without firing a single gun. Now when it comes to harder activities like Grandmaster Nightfalls and Legend Lost Sectors, you want to wait till an enemy is almost dead. Once you see that they're in the red, they're almost about to die, you then want to utilize your melee attack. This is going to activate the sun bracers. Now our last build on the list is by far the deadliest. And huge shout out to the Eggman himself, Teegs, for coming up with this amazing build. If you are a fan of getting your super within seconds, this is a build you should be looking at. When it comes to selecting aspects for this Stasis build, you're going to want to run Bleak Watcher and Glacial Harvest. Glacial Harvest will play a huge role when it comes to elemental shards and creating elemental wells. We selected Glacial Harvest for one reason, to create as many shards as possible. When we freeze a miner, that's 1 shard. When we freeze an elite, that's 2 shards, and any champions will be 3 shards. When it comes to choosing a grenade, I highly recommend Cold Snap grenades. And yes guys, you can also run Dust Fields, but stay away from the Stasis wall. That wall has no business here. Our first fragment of choice is Whisper of Fissures. This synergizes extremely well with our build. Since we're freezing so many targets, every time we shatter a frozen target, we're going to be dealing area of effect damage. Now our next fragment is going to be Whisper of Bonds. This is the driving force of this entire build. It gives you an extra 2.5% super energy on frozen target kills. Pretty much guys, this is going to be active all the time, and it's responsible for giving us that 30-second super cooldown. Now we will be defeating a lot of frozen targets, and there's going to be a lot of stasis shards. We want to pick all of them up. This is where Whisper of Conduction plays a huge role. Nearby stasis shards will track to you. Now that our Warlock is Pac-Man and gobbling up all these stasis shards, how can we benefit even more? Now we want to run Whisper of Rhyme. This is going to give us health or an overshield when we pick those shards up. Our exotic of choice is Aegir's Scepter. This exotic is going to be the MVP of today's build. And yes guys, the catalyst is necessary to make this build go crazy in PvE. When the exotic perk is active, this drains 20% of our super energy, but it gives us an 80% damage increase. And yes guys, this is going to stack with some of our mods in today's build. Now our exotic armor of peace is Mantle of Battle Harmony. Guys, this is what makes the build synergize so well with Aegir's Scepter. It comes with the perk Absorption Cells. Takedowns with your weapons that have a damage type matching your subclass element grant you super energy. While your super energy is full, you instead gain a temporary bonus to weapon damage of the type matching your subclass element, aka supercharging Aegir's Scepter. Now if you're wondering, yes, Absorption Cells does stack with Whisper of Bonds. Now why does this exotic synergize so well with the Mantle of Battle Harmony? Well, Whisper of Bonds grants an additional 2.5 super energy on frozen enemy kills. You're going to be pairing this on top of Mantle of Battle Harmony's Energy Siphon, which grants 3% for every 2 seconds. Now that's a lot of super energy. But what if I told you that you also get a lot of bonus damage? After your super is full, Absorption Cells kicks in and grants a 20% damage increase. And yes guys, this stacks with Aegir's Scepter. So that's a lot of synergy to begin with. And that's not even including the mods. Our mods of choice are going to be Harmonic Siphon. This turns Aegir's Scepter into an orb machine.
Not an actual representation of Aegir's Scepter.
But let's take it a step further. Elemental Armaments. Not only is Aegir's Scepter going to be dropping orbs like crazy, but it's also going to be generating elemental wells. I do recommend a trace rifle ammo finder. Since this build revolves around your special weapon, you're going to need a lot of ammo. As for your gauntlets, Focusing Strike might be the play there. Also, you can put on another elemental armaments just to add an additional well created by Aegir's Scepter. For our chest piece, Trace Rifle Reserves is the play. You need a lot of green ammo for this build. Not only that, running the mod Font of Might is going to give you an additional damage boost. Yes, that's right guys, even more damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
And if you're wondering, yes, this does stack with Aegir's Scepter. This will stack with Font of Might, equaling a total of about 125% damage increase. Let's not forget that with each kill you get will activate Mantle of Battle Harmony, thus negating the super drain effect created by Aegir's Scepter. On your leg armor, Innervation is the play. This is going to give you 12% bonus grenade energy on each orb you pick up. And remember, we're generating a lot of orbs. Also, you want Trace Rifle Scavenger, as much green ammo as you can possibly get. To take full advantage of our elemental wells, Bountiful Wells now creates 3 stasis wells per Aegir's Scepter kill. For our class item, Utility Kickstart, Special Ammo Finisher, and Elemental Shards, all of which are only going to benefit this build even further. And there you have it, some of the best builds for each Warlock subclass. Huge shout out to TheTeegs and PattyCakes again for helping me with this video. Both are great Destiny 2 content creators, and I highly recommend you check out their channels. They're going to be linked down below. Thank you so much for stopping by. Before you go, if you're new to Destiny 2 and you're curious about mods and which are the best ones, that video that popped up on the left is a video where I cover the top 15 mods for Destiny 2. That video on the right is going to be all my Arc 3.0 builds. Thank you so much guys, you have a good one, and I will see you in the next video.